Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today, for the month of September, we are looking at the updated 2026 U.S. House elections predictions. Now, obviously what's going on with the House is very much up in the air right now due to the congressional redistricting possibly happening in several states. As of the time I'm recording this video, Texas just signed its new House map into law, which is going to net the Republicans possibly around 5 new House seats for them. And there's also a lot of other states that could be redistricting as well. So all that's still very much up in the air, but this is where things currently look like at this current point in time. On 270 to win, the current consensus ranking for 2026 has the Republicans favored in 212 House seats, Democrats 202, with about 21 still up for grabs. Now, just to show you where things currently stand on the polling side of things, the generic vote for 2026 on the Real Clear Politics polling average has the Democrats favored or up by about 3.1%. Now, at 3.1%, just to give you an idea, in 2024, the Republicans won 50.6% to 47.8%. So that's roughly about 2.8%. So going from 2.8 for the GOP up to about 3.1 for the Democrats, that would be a swing of roughly about 5.9% on the congressional map if that were to play out that way. So we can actually see what this would look like. We can swing it by about 5.8% on the congressional map just to see what it would look like just based on the 2024 results. Now, obviously, this is not going to play out exactly this way, but if it did play out this way, Democrats would get up to about 231 House seats, Republicans 204. And that is a big reason why Republicans in a lot of states are trying to redraw their House maps, is they know based on the polling data today, the Democrats would probably take back the House and by a pretty large margin. That's why they're trying to redistrict to stop that from happening. So that's where things would be right now. So let's go state by state on the look at the maps right now, look at what they currently are, and what, if there's any rumors about redistricting, looks like. For the state of Alabama, right now, the way things are currently constructed, I don't believe there is much to be talked about in the state of Alabama. I don't think much is going to be changing in that state. Now we can also go to the state of Alaska. Alaska, obviously just one district. This is Nick Begich. Unless Mary Peltola runs for this race again, we're probably going to see it remain in the Republican category. Arizona is interesting. Even Arizona, I don't believe there's been any rumors about redistricting, but regardless, there are two very important districts to watch for. In the 1st district with David Schweikert and the 6th district with Juan Cisco-Manny. These districts are very, very, very close and very important to watch for 2026. We saw Dave Schweikert win Arizona 1 by 3.8% after a vote for Cisco-Manny in Arizona 6 by 2.5%, both very, very close. In 2022, Arizona 1 only went for Dave Schweikert by 0.88%, and 6 only went for Cisco-Manny by 1.5%. Both of these districts are certainly very close and important to watch. We saw Arizona 1 on the Cook Political Reports Cook PVI is only a Republican +1 district in Arizona 1, where Arizona 6 is an even district without a Republican or Democratic lean based on this most recent Cook PVI. So these districts are very, very close and super important to watch for 2026. If the Democrats are winning the congressional vote by 3.8%, like the polling suggests, we could certainly see both of these districts going to the Democrats in 2026. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out, but for the sake of argument, let's just go through that. Arkansas is probably going to remain the way it currently is. California is really fascinating right now because California has a voter referendum out there for November of 2025. And that is to essentially allow the state legislature to have a special legislation to redraw the congressional map, essentially in response to what Texas was doing, where it drew out about 5 Democrats becoming 5 Republican seats. California is now wanting to do that to get rid of 5 Republican seats. The way that I've seen the map being redrawn, firstly, it would cement Democratic wins with Adam Gray in California 13 and cement a Democratic win in California 45 for Derek Tran as well. Let me just zoom in here to get the map 1 here. Okay, so those seats would be definitely Democratic wins. Now, what the new map would be doing would be targeting a lot of very close Republican seats. One being David Valadao in California 22, one being down here with Young Kim in California 40, another being Ken Calvert in California 41, one being Kevin Kiley in California 3, as well as Republican Darrell Issa in California 48. That's what the rumor map would look like. If it went into account, it would essentially flip all 5 of those Republican seats to the Democratic side. And based on the early polling of the referendum, it looks like that referendum is going to pass in November by a pretty large margin. So again, for the sake of this video, for the sake of argument, let's say that happens in California. The map goes through. Democrats net about 5 seats in California. This puts the Democrats up to 211 House seats, Republicans currently at 207. The state of Colorado could be redistricted, but I haven't really heard much suggesting that it will be. Colorado 8th District barely voted for Gabe Evans in 2024 in a very close race. We saw it go for Evans by about 0.73% in 2024. So a very close district, one certainly that could flip in 2026. I voted even, or it's even on the Cook PVI, so certainly a very important toss-up one. If that 3.8% margin is correct, Colorado 8 will probably be going blue in 2026. But again, a very close race that we have to watch for. Connecticut right now, unless something major happens in Connecticut 5, it'll probably remain all Democratic. Delaware, same thing, statewide, probably going to remain Democratic without too much of a doubt. Florida is interesting because there have been some reports Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, wants to redraw his congressional map to also try and get about 5 Republican seats out of Florida. Now, the rumored seats that he'd be targeting, for one, is this district, Jared Moskowitz's district, near the Palm Beach area where President Trump lives. That district has certainly been a target. Another is Florida 9 with Darren Soto, right outside the Orlando area. That has been a target district as well. The next one, given Hillsborough County has gotten a lot more red in 2024, Republicans are hoping to draw out the Democrat Kathy Castor, the Democrat representing the Tampa area as well. That would be 3 Democratic flips for sure that DeSantis is targeting. From there, it could be any one of these Democrats in the surrounding 22, 20, 25, and 24 area. DeSantis wants to get down, I believe he said, 5 seats. So if he can do that, maybe he also target Florida 22 or maybe Florida 20 or any Florida 25 maybe. Let's just, for the sake of argument, pick 2 extra seats to target out. Let's say Florida 20 and let's say Florida 25 with Wasserman and Schultz. If DeSantis can do this and flip these seats, this will net 5 seats for the Republicans in Florida. That would take away the gains the Democrats got in California due to them doing it in Texas. That's what DeSantis says he wants to do in the state. Will that ultimately happen? That's a big if. We'll have to wait and see, but that's what the rumor is right now. In Georgia, everything's pretty much locked in. I don't think there'll be a redrawing in the state. Georgia, nothing really has been confirmed on that one. For the state of Hawaii, they'll both remain in the Democratic side. Idaho will remain both for the Republicans. Illinois, their map is already pretty gerrymandered and pretty redrawn, so I don't think there'll be any redrawing in Illinois. These seats are all pretty much guaranteed to be going the way they currently are. Indiana, President Trump has been meeting with several Republicans in the state of Indiana trying to redraw their map. It looks like that one's going to happen. Specifically, President Trump is targeting Indiana 1 with Frank Mervan. Trump wants this redrawn to get an extra House seat out of Indiana 1. It's possible they could try and redraw Indiana 7, but I really don't think that one's going to happen after it voted for the Democrat by about 39.4%. It's going to be very tough to get rid of that one, but Indiana 1, which only voted by 8.5%, could be redrawn from 2026 to help the Republicans. So that's the latest on Indiana. Iowa's not going to get redrawn, I don't believe, but there's a lot of competitive races up for grabs in the state of Iowa in 2026, most notably Marinette Miller Meeks in the 1st District, who we just saw in 2024 barely hold on and win by 0.19%. This is absolutely a race the Democrats are targeting for 2026. But Iowa also has another very close race in Iowa 3 with Republican Zach Nunn, who won by 3.8%. The rumor was that President Trump spoke to Zach Nunn. Nunn was considering a run for governor of Iowa, but President Trump convinced him to run for re-election as he believed this race was very close and needed every advantage the Republicans had to try and hold on to this race. It should also be worth noting that Iowa 2, which was a safe Republican win in 2024, Ashley Hinson may be running for Senate for Joni Ernst's Senate race that could be opening up that seat as well to being more competitive than it usually otherwise would be. I think we see for sure Iowa 1 go to the Democrats in 2026. It's possible we see Iowa 3 also go for the Democrats. That one I'm a little bit less sure of at this current point in time. It is Republican +2 at the Cook BVI level, so certainly in range for a Democratic flip. It did vote by 3.8% for Zach Nunn in 2024. Only voted for Nunn by 0.69%, though, in 2022. So very close to watch in Iowa 3. I am going to leave it narrowly in the Republican category, but I could certainly see it flipping to the Democrats as well in 2026. In Kansas, there is some rumors that Kansas, the Republicans want to redraw their map as well to get rid of the 3rd district in Kansas 3. Now, if that were to happen, that would be a very big boost for the Republicans. The governor candidate, the former governor running for governor in Kansas, wants to redraw the map to try and get out the 3rd district and bring it to the Republican side. That may very well end up happening, but that rumor is still pretty fresh. So for now, I'll leave it in the Democratic category, but that could be happening as well. Kentucky, the only competitive race here is going to be Andy Barr's 6th district, which is still expected to be in the likely Republican category for now, so that's going to remain pretty much how it is. Louisiana, I also don't think there's really too much going on here in terms of redistricting. That should remain as is. Maine's going to be very close, as the early polling has shown Jared Golden and Paul LePage, the former governor, in a very tight race. This is one where I actually think the Republicans are going to be very narrowly be able to flip, because Paul LePage, though he did not do very well in the governor's race in 22 against Janet Mills in that governor's race, he did win, as I saw a commenter mention, he did win Maine's 2nd district in his 3 governor elections that he did run. So Golden so LePage does very well in that 2nd district, and I think Golden may just not be able to get enough votes to narrowly lose this race in the 2nd district. So I actually think Maine's 2nd does flip from Jared Golden to Paul LePage in 2026. Now, as for Maryland, the rumor has been that Governor Westmore wants to redraw the congressional map in Maryland to net the Democrats an extra Democratic seat. There's only one Republican seat in Maryland 1 with Andrew Harris, but the rumor is that Moore wants to redraw the map and get the seat to the Democratic side. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to have that happen, redraw the map, and give the Democrats an extra seat. In Massachusetts, I don't think anything's going to be changing there. Very Democratic state, probably not going to be any redistricting there. Michigan has some very close races to watch for on this House map. Michigan 7 with Tom Barrett and Michigan 10 with John James, both of which are going to be very close and very important to watch for in 2026. We did see these states have very close elections in 2024. Barrett won by 3.7%. James won by 6.1%. James is going to be an open race now that he's running for governor. Back in 2022, Tom Barrett actually lost to Elisa Slotkin in this district by 5.4%. John James won by 0.49% in that district. On the Cook PVI level, we did see these 2 districts here, that Michigan 7 is an even district, while Michigan 10 is Republican +3. Based on the current predictions right now, I do think the Republicans barely hold on to Michigan 10, where the Democrats do narrowly flip back Michigan 7 with Tom Barrett. So that's there. Minnesota, again, I think we pretty much see everything hold on. Angie Craig's not running for the 2nd district. She is now running for governor, or for Senate, but I do think, but I do think we see the race hold on there. Mississippi remains the way it is. Missouri is interesting because Missouri is working on redrawing their map, and the target is to get rid of the Democratic district in Missouri 5, held by Democrat Emmanuel Cleaver. That is the district they are targeting. Looks like that one's going to happen as well. That one flips to the GOP, gets the Republicans up to 215 on the current map so far. Montana, both I expect will remain in the Republican category. Nebraska, unless the Nebraska map gets redrawn, which there has been some inklings of this by the current Congressman Don Bacon, but assuming that doesn't happen, the Democrats are certainly favored to win the 2nd district, and I think they're going to when everything is said and done. After we saw the 2nd district vote for Don Bacon by 1.9% in 2024, but at the presidential level, Kamala Harris won it against Donald Trump by 4.7%. So certainly seems to be the 2nd district is going to be heading towards the Democrat way in 2026. For Nevada, the only district that's really competitive is the 3rd district. I think the Democrats are going to hold on there. New Hampshire, the 1st district, now that Chris Pappas is running for Senate, will probably be the most competitive it's been since about 2016, but I still think the Democrats do have a slight advantage to hold on, especially in this election environment. New Jersey, the only district to watch for in New Jersey really is New Jersey 7 with Tom Keene. New Jersey 9 with Nellie Pooh could be potentially competitive, but based on the election results here, we saw it be a 5-point win for Pooh, the Democrat, in 2024. Keene did win by 5.4%, though he did win by 2.8% in 2022. Maybe the Democrats put up a tougher fight and a better candidate in this district, but I think Tom Keene ultimately does hold on and win in New Jersey 7, even by a very close margin in 2026. I think that does end up happening. New Mexico, Gabriel Vasquez, the Democrat, we did see, I believe he won in this race by 0.7%. against Yvette Harrell. So a very, very close race in 2022. In 2024, Vasquez won against Harrell by 4.2%. I think we probably see this race hold on in the Democratic hands for 2026. The state of New York could be interesting if Kathy Hochul is able to redraw its congressional map. New York, as much as some other states, has not had the same amount of attention and talk about redrawing its map as some others, but if it does, that could certainly change things up, taking away maybe New York 17 from Mike Lawler, perhaps trying to take away New York 1 from Nicholas Lolada is possible as well, and then maybe one of these upper districts like at least Stefanik's New York 21 maybe could be targeted. But for now, I think we see Laura Gillen hold on in New York 4, and the rest of the map remain pretty much the same. Maybe Mike Lawler falls in New York 17, but I think he's favored to hold on right now. North Carolina, only North Carolina 1 is currently up for grabs, and I think Don Davis, the Democrat, holds on and wins that one. North Dakota, I think also remains pretty much how it is right now. Ohio, there's a lot going on in the state of Ohio with the Republicans trying to redraw the map. The rumor is they redraw the map. The Republicans want to be able to flip Ohio 9, Ohio 13, and Ohio 1. Ohio and Texas sort of started this whole conversation on redistricting, and it looks like Republicans are maybe getting their wish, getting Ohio 13, Ohio 9, and Ohio 1 on their side. I don't think the Republicans have any chance of getting Ohio 3 or Ohio 11, but they could heavily redistrict and heavily gerrymander to get those 3 seats in Ohio. Now in Oklahoma, I think it's all going to remain the way it is. Oregon's had some talk of trying to redistrict. I don't think there's been anything substantial, but Oregon could try and draw out Oregon 2 if they really wanted to, the Democrats. I'm not sure if they will, but that could potentially be possible. Pennsylvania has some very close races that are up in 2026 that the Democrats are certainly targeting. We did see in 2024, Rob Bresnahan or Ryan McKenzie win PA 7 by 1 point, Rob Bresnahan win by 1.6, and Scott Perry win by 1.3 in these respective districts. Now, they are listed at Republican +4 and PA 8, PA 7 R +1, and we also saw PA 10 go R +3 and look PVI. But based on the current election environment, we could probably expect PA 7 or Ryan McKenzie will flip to the Democrats, and then it's certainly possible Scott Perry and Rob Bresnahan could both lose these races in Pennsylvania in an election year when the governor's race is expected to be a pretty big win for Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania. Rhode Island will pretty much remain the way it is. South Carolina will remain the way it is. South Dakota, obviously state at large, will remain. Tennessee should remain the way it is as well. Texas is very interesting. Texas, the map has already taken into account the seats that are going to flip. Texas 34 has already been redrawn to the Republican win. Al Green's district has already been redrawn into the Republican win. The Republican Texas 32 Democratic seat has been redrawn. Now the only seat that's really 100% a toss-up is Texas 28 with Henry Cuellar. This district has gotten a lot more Republican, and it's possible the Republicans could win this district, completing the 5 and flipping it to the Democratic side. But it's not necessarily a sure bet. It is possible that Henry Cuellar could hold on and narrowly win this seat. I think this one is still very much a toss-up, but for the sake of argument, we're going to give it to Henry Cuellar just for the sake of this video, but that one certainly could become a Republican win as well. Utah, there seems to be a lawsuit going on right now to overturn the 4th district being a Republican seat and getting it to be redrawn and to be more of a friendly district for the Democrats, and if that were to happen, that would net the Democrats an extra House seat in the state of Utah. That could make a very big difference in which party holds the House. Vermont will continue to be Democratic. With Virginia, the only district right now currently listed as toss-up is Jen Kiggins in Virginia 2. This is a very interesting race because it voted for Kiggins in 2024 by about 3.8% against the Democratic candidate. It flipped in 2022. Kiggins won by 3.4% against Elaine Loria. Before that, the district, which was redrawn, voted for the Democrat by about 5.7%. So this district is very interesting to watch because it is listed as even for the Cook PVI. So if the Democrats have a big enough night and resurgence in Virginia, we could very well see this race go for the Democrats. That puts Republicans at 217, Democrats are at 216, and unless I'm mistaken, Washington and Wisconsin may decide who holds the House. And the 3rd district, which is currently held by Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, very, very close race. She won against Joe Kent, I do believe, in 2024 by 3.9%. She will not be facing Joe Kent this time around, but it will be a close race regardless in this district, which is listed at Republican +2 on the Cook PVI. But I do think Gluesenkamp-Perez very nearly holds on and wins this seat. Republicans 217, Democrats 217. Based on this current map, it could all come down to Wisconsin's 3rd district with Republican Derek Van Orden, who this district is listed at Republican +3. Van Orden only won in 2024 by 2.7%. So in a swing of about 5.8% or so, we could see this district nearly flip to the Democrats. Now, Wyoming, that's the way it is. So based on everything we just took into account, on the current polling and my current predictions for these races, and all the redistricting that could or could not be happening, based on all that, the Democrats could win the House over the Republicans by just one single House seat in 2026. Now, usually elections in America don't usually go this way. It's often when there's a big wave for one party, it usually is a sweeping wave and covers a lot of things. So some of the close races like Iowa 3, which I gave to Zach Nunn, the Republican, or maybe some of the redistricting in Ohio, like Ohio 9 or Ohio 13, maybe it falls through or doesn't go a certain way, or maybe even Maine 2. But on the current predictions right now, Democrats on the current House map would probably win the House by around 10 to 15 seats. But when redistricting is all factored into it, based on the current map and how things are going, Democrats would hold about 218, Republicans 217. And this would be really interesting if this is how it all goes. Because if this is the case, this could be like up to a week after Election Day, we're still counting votes, that we don't know which party is going to control the House if it goes this way. That's why this whole redistricting thing for 2026 is really so fascinating. Because depending on how the states are redrawn and which states are redrawn, this could be really, really interesting. We also have some close states that went for the Democrats that what if they go for the GOP? If Texas 28 goes for the Republicans with Henry Cuellar, well then the Republicans get up to 218, 217, then the GOP nearly holds the majority. So this conversation of redistricting is really fascinating and shows what a very close 2026 election could look like at the U.S. House level. Now, maybe this could all end up being wrong, ends up being a very big wave for the Democrats or a big wave for the Republicans, but in this scenario, this is exactly what the Republicans want. They want a very redistricted state across the country to redraw all their maps because it gives the Republicans a chance of holding the House. Whereas based on the current map right now, the Republicans really don't have that great of a chance at holding on. But if states follow Texas's suit in a lot of Republican states, that could potentially make up for that and give the Republicans a chance at keeping the House. So this is certainly all a lot and very complicated, but if you have any comments or questions or suggestions or anything, leave them down in the comment section below. I can't wait to check all those out. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. I hope to see you in a future video.